Okay, so I'm just gonna have to little bit, repeat the previous lecture about topo surface because many of the people were not able or were not being joined in the previous lecture. So I'll continue with that, and even I found out the file of the topo surface file basically there, which I was actually searching in the last previous class. So now we can actually work with that file also basically. Okay, so let us start. So is my screen visible to all?
Yeah, visible, sir.
Okay. So for people who don't know what is topo surface, it's actually contour, or you can say about land or a surface, earth surface basically, that is generally called topo surface or topography. So it's might look something in this form basically. So you might get a file like that with some numbers written on it that are the elevating height. And once we put that elevating height in 3 dimensions in 3D, it might look similar to something like that, which we have a land which is not even, or it's like up and down, or like a mountain basically there. So it's, you can have a land which can be flat, it can be having some sort of slope or some sort of peak. It's called topo surface basically there. Okay, so you get files something like that. This is what satellite images looks like when you go on your Google Earth or satellite viewer of topography. Okay, so normally we see this is the weather data of that particularly topo surface. That's the just a topo surface that we see it from the plan, and this is the topo surface with the elevations on it basically there, that at what elevating height that particularly line is basically that's maybe of 5000 meter, or maybe it can be 5000 mm depending on what unit it is basically there. Okay, so this line, the dark line that is gone, it's totally of 2000 meter maybe. This dark line is on 3000 meter. Okay, so it will have different elevating heights. It can be up, it can be down also. It's not necessary that it can be of always be going into up direction. It can be in any form of elevations basically there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make that topo surface, and then we can create our pathway or anything basically there, and create actually site project basically there. Okay, a land project basically there, because on site only our project is being completed and made basically there. So it's not necessary the site would be a level surface. It can be having major up and downs also. So we need to excavate the side, we need to dig the side, make a flat surface basically there, so that the building can stand on that particularly surfaces basically there. Okay, so that's what we could do in topo surface or topography. Okay, now I'm going to pick a new file over here. So I'm going to come into new, and I'm going to take the architectural template, the metric architectural template, and whenever you're working and if you want to create your topo surface or a topography or a land basically, that it is always advisable that you come into your site floor plan and create your topo surface basically, that do not create your topo surface in the other levels. Okay, otherwise your topography will be created on that specific level only. So we'll make sure that our topo surface or topography is created on the site. Okay, so let's do that. So I will be coming on site floor plan. You can see when I come on site floor plan, I actually get this site project marker basically there, which is currently I'm not on any elevating height. It is on 0, 0. Okay, and that's the north south and the east west location, which I have not yet set it the project location yet. uh, so if you want to set your project location or your through north position basically there, you can come to the manage tab, and you can set your location of your project, and even you can set the rotate your true north basically. Currently this is the north of the projects. If you want to project it on like any angle, if it's like at an angle of like 60 degrees from the east or 60 degrees from the west, you can set the project through north position also, which I'll deal with it later on. Right now, the agenda is to how do we create a topo surface on this particularly project, basically for this particularly project or for any project basically there. So I'm in the site floor plan, and once you're in the site floor plan, you can come to the massing and site tab. And when you come in massing and site tab, you have this option called as topo surface, which will allow you to create your topography or topo surface or your land. Okay, this tool. Now to create the topo surface, you have two methods. The method number one is by placing the point manually, and the second method is by importing a DWG or a CSV file basically there. So you should have AutoCAD Civil 3D file with you with the topo surface marked and created, or you should have the CSV file, or you can create your own topo surface by positioning in the points manually basically there. So the first method that I'm going to go is the place point position, means manual positions of the topo surface. So I'm going to take the place point tool. So when I take the place point tool, right at this option bar, it says elevation, which is right now at 0. So it would be at 0 leveled. Okay, so let's say we want to create a ground level first. So I'm going to create it at 0 level. So I'm going to add some points. So I'm going to add a point somewhere over here, then another point somewhere right at this end over here. So, and one more point over here. I'm going to create 4 points basically there. So these are my 4 points, and that would be my topo surface basically. And these all 4 points are at 0 elevating height. Okay, absolutely irrelevant, absolute pointly it is 0, and you have relative to the surface. Okay, then I wanted the topo surface to gradually rise basically there. So I'm going to give like okay, it's going to rise to around 250 mm. Okay, this 4 points right over here, this like that. I'm going to give some points, and I'm going to create some topo surface. So all these points that I'm creating, these are all going at same elevating height 250. And I'm going to again say that okay, it's going to rise more. Maybe I'm going to give like 350 this time, so another 100 mm. It's going to raise basically there. So I'm going to again create some points basically. So these are some points that have been created. Okay, and then I'm going to say okay, now it's going to come down again basically. So I'm going to say 200 mm. Which is absolute, right? So this is 200 mm which will come down. So maybe I wanted from that level, I want only 50 mm to come down. I don't remember what was my last point position. So I can say a relative, and then I can put it out. Okay, I want only 50 mm down basically the relatively to that, basically the relative to that surface. So I say negative 50, not positive. If I go positive, it will go upwards in direction, right? So I'm going to put it negative 50 relative to the surface, means whatever is my last coordinate. From that it will be coming 50 mm more down. So I really don't know, but so I'm just going to place it. So you can see points are there. It's coming, but it comes very fade kind of points basically there, because it's going into negative directions and bottom direction points. Once your point position is completed, you can click on the finish editing mode to complete your creating of your topo surface. And now if you look into fine details, and if you come to your 3D view, some come it's gradually there. It's very tiny actually. So you can see like it's gradually raised from that 0 level. So that's 0 level, and then it's rise, and then it's again raised again. So because we have given a very minimum space height, like 100 mm is not that big a height, or 300 mm is not that great big height basically. So again, we can take the edit surface tool, and we can come back to the site plans, and we can select this points, all these points. Okay, and we can once again change its elevating heights basically, which was set as 250s. Select these points which are at 250 height. We'll change that to let's say 500. Okay, and you can select these ones. Change that to another like 1000 mm of heights. Okay, so you can see now this line starts appearing basically. That means they are forming, the contours, our topo surface is forming actually. Once again, if we come back into 3D view, you will find that okay, now you can clearly see a little bit uh, like a bump in the surface basically there. Surface by giving manually placing the points basically. Okay, later on also you can adjust these points, you can select them, edit the surface, whichever point you want to edit, select that point and you can provide this actual elevation height basically, so which is currently right now to 276. So maybe if I give this as 1000 mm, so we'll go a little bit up, that point will raise a little bit upward in direction. Maybe I want to make it to 2000 mm basically, so I can see that it goes a little bit higher, raise above that ground basically, like that, and then you can click on finish mode. Contour starts forming basically. So it's very easy to create a topo surface manually also. So only if you know the site coordinates, then or the elevation that is required for the site basically. Okay. The second method of creating the topo surface, as I told you, was to add the DWG file from the AutoCAD Civil 3D software or the CSV file from the Google Earth, basically. So for a time being, I have the AutoCAD file from the AutoCAD Civil 3D software. So this file might look something like this. Let me just show you. Partial site. I'll take this, not a big site, but I'm going to take a partial site. So it's an AutoCAD file which is been constructed and made in AutoCAD Civil 3D actually. So this is the file actually. So you can see these are my topo surface actually. Okay, and they have mentioned I mentioned about this elevation height as well, 275 meters, 250 meters, 225, 200 meters, 175, 150, 125 meters basically that. And somewhere this is my project site basically. This is where the project site is going to be. Okay, so what I wanted is to convert this magenta line into a topo surface. So I've kept it in a layer also. It's in the intermediate layers. Okay, so to convert this intermediate layers into topo surface. So if you can see, that's the site work. That's the building outline actually, or the property line of the buildings. Right. Everything is marked up over here for me. And it's a 3D file also. So if I just rotate this view, see that these lines are at different elevatings basically. Okay, they are not flattened to the ground. Yeah, they are not flattened to the ground. It's at a different elevating height basically. Okay. So I want to take this file into Revit and want to convert this intermediate lines into topo surface basically. This intermediate layers into topo surface. So how do I import that file basically? So it's very simple. I'm going to delete this existing the manual one that I've created. Okay, or I'm going to keep it. Let's take it into a new file only. Let's take it to a new file, new project. Pick the architectural template. So as I told you, if you want to create your topo surface, you might have to come into your site floor plan view. So I'm in the site floor plan view, and now I wanted to, insert the DWG file that was available to me and convert that DWG file into topo surface basically there. So I'm going to come first into the insert tab. And from the insert tab, I will take link CAD because it was a CAD file. If it was a CSV file, I would have taken link topography. Okay, but it's not a CSV file. It's a file from the AutoCAD actually. So I'm gonna take link CAD. And it will ask you where is that particularly CAD file. So I'm gonna quickly come into that location. Partial site, here it is, partial site.twg. And now you will see you will never find levels of site level over here. So my level 1 is only my site level basically there. So I'm going to pick that only. Preserve the layers, all layers auto detect, that's fine. I'm going to open that file, and as you can see that files comes in, topo surface files comes in, but it's a CAD file basically there. So I might not able to create a topo surface, or might not able to see a topo surface actually in Revit basically there. So if you want to create a topo surface now or convert this AutoCAD file into a topo surface file, come to massing inside. We're going to take the topo surface tool. When I take the topo surface tool, this time it asks you like place the point manually. So if you want to place it manually, you can do that, but it will take you a lot of time to trace it actually. So instead of placing manually, I'll take creator points from the imported ones basically. Okay. So when I come to this option, create from import, I have two options: select the imported instance, and there is another option called specify point file. Okay, so I'm going to pick the first option, select the import instance, because it's a CAD file. If it was a CSV file, I would have selected the second one, specify the point file basically, and then I will be specifying the exact elevating height of each line basically. Okay, so I'm going to pick the first option, select import instance. Okay, so if I select import instance, I have to pick the CAD file. So I have to select the CAD file. So I'm going to pick it. So when I pick it, I get this a bunch of layers basically there. Okay, and these layers are my CAD layers only basically. So it is asking me that okay, which line do you want to convert into topo surface basically. So if you look into the CAD, this magenta line is my topo surface line, and I've put it into the intermediate layers. So from here in Revit also, I'm going to say check none, and I'm going to search for the intermediate layer. I'm going to check that on, and then I'm going to click OK. So what it will going to do, it's going to convert all my intermediate lines into topo surface basically, into the points actually basically. Now if I have not given the layer, it would be very difficult to pick the object, because every object will be converted into topo surface then. All right, so intermed's gonna click OK now. Wait for a little while. You can see after I selected the intermed layers, you can see all that on that intermed line, you will see you get the points basically. And these all points, when I select that point, it is showing me this absolute height, the elevating height of that particularly point basically. Now, if you want to modify them, you can obviously select that points and you can modify it, but it will be too many points that you need to modify. So we have a file that is already having on that elevating heights basically there, so I'm okay with that. And you can click on finish to complete. And what it has done, that it has created a topo surface for you. Now, even if you delete your CAD file, it really doesn't matter, okay, because we got the topo surface. So if I look into my 3D view, switch this mode to realistic. Perfect topo surface. The land is there, and it's not straight. It's not even. It's like all up and down is there basically there. So that's how you can build your topo surface by using the manual method or by importing a DWG file or a CSV file and making it basically there. Okay. Once the topo surface is been created, we get a lot of modify tools to modify them, and we have the other toolbars also to use it on that site basically. So we have a toolbar called as site component tools. So like now in the topo surface, we wanted to add planters or trees basically there, or many other components also. Like if I want to add a electricity pole or fire hydrant or manhole, many things that are you see on the site, on the exterior of your buildings basically, as on the road basically, on the surface basically of the exterior environment basically, that you can add it through site component. So when I pick the site component tool, I get all the plantations. I have different types of plants are here available. So once again, I'll come to site plan. Maybe I want to add some plants right over here around this. You can see wherever I've marked as green marked lines basically, there would be plantings basically there. So I can pick site component tool, like start placing some components. These are 12.5 meter height trees are there, so you have different height size also. So you want 4.5 meters, you can add the 4. And I've selected, yeah. So these are now smaller size ones. You can add smaller ones as well, bunch of it. Okay, add mix of them. So now if you come back in your 3D view, planters. Now, if you don't find these planters when you take the site component tool in this list over here, you can always load that family. So when you click on load families, I'll go into the English folder in US. Search for a folder called as plants or planting. Okay, so when you come in plantings, you will find all different plantings. We have this plants, we have shrubs, we have trees. Okay, we have tropical trees. So tropical tree was something not available. So I'm going to pick that. I'm going to pick the shrubs, even the coniferous trees and the other trees that were not available. Only the deciduous trees were available. So I'm going to load all of these. So now I can add some tropical trees. We have shrubs. Okay, so these little smaller ones. 5 meter. Come on. So it's very impossible to add it in your 3D view. It's best is always you come on site and then you add it. So it can be quickly added in the site. There you go. And these are parametric also, so like it's just 5.5 meter height. So if you want to make it more height, you can obviously increase that height of that tree. So you can add planters all around wherever you want to add it. Okay, so they are not heavy actually, they are very lightweight because they are not having any sort of meshes. It's just an image, cut out image. Okay. This looks decent enough to show it. Okay. So you can add side component. Now in side component, you can add many other side component also, not only just planters, but if you take side component toolbar, if you take load family, if you come into the folder called as site folder. Okay, so we have site like accessories, logistic, parkings, and utilities. So if I come in accessories, I have like the bike stands, we have the bollards, bollard 2, dumpers, flagpole, a parking bench, basically there, a park bench, sorry, a planter. You can see in this which we can put the shrubs or the small planters inside this, and a trash cans, basically. So I can load all of these together. And you can come back to the site layout. I can say that okay, we'll add some planters around over here like that, in which small planters would be lying it. Okay. Then we have benches. You can add benches between them like that. Okay, your 3D view. Park benches and this for the planters, basically, and many other components you can add it also. Okay. Just give me 1 minute, guys. I'll be back. Hello. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I am
Screen
hearing.
is and screen is visible.
Visible, sir. Visual, sir.
Okay. So we can add site components. A lot of other site components are also there. So you can again come take load families. That were all accessories. We can even load logistics like uh, trucks and dampers and scaffoldings and many other things are there. So you can load all of these together. You can see we have this dumper is there, water tank actually, or the waste tank. We have the scaffoldings. We have the trash cans. We have the pickup truck. Not detailed, but very much okay to show it. Something that you can always show it from a plan perspective basically. These are all site component tools. Next to the site component tool, sorry, we have the parking component. Okay, so parking component is nothing, just the parking lines actually. So you can take parking component and you can also add parking components like that. It's like different sizes are available. A different angle is also there. So this is for the 60-degree park. Okay, so slight cross park रहेगा तो we have 70% or 70 degree actually. So you have different angle also. So you can have cross parking, so you can take cross parking. Okay, so many countries they don't have 90-degree parking, they have like cross parkings. So you can take cross parkings or you can take 90-degree park as well. So that is 90-degree straight parkings. And add parking components. Side component, you'll find many other component also, like utilities are also there. Come back. Cars and other things as well. If you want to load the normal car, normal vehicle as well, so you can take site component, load families, and search for a folder called as end outreach. Okay, and you'll find the beetle car, the chairs, female, male, a notebook, and a picture frame. So you can take the beetle car, or the male or the female characters as well. You can add the beetle car that you can slightly rotate, getting cut off basically. That's because maybe of the topo surface. Properly placed and aligned over there. Only thing is I don't know. Sorry, we don't see that parking line for this car park over here. So it's actually there. Little height actually. So what you can do is select that, pick new host, and select that. Oh, you can see that's because of this line that is above it. Level. view. See the pictures and everything. Even this, you can see these parkings are gone in that level, so we can pick new host, and I'm going to pick the topo surface, and it will put it on that topo surface actually. If the topo surface is slightly taking a sloped, even your parking line would be having a little bit of sloped. So you can see your vehicle is also like slightly sloped, and it's like my tires are going in, so try to pick new host and try to adjust it if it's possible. It still goes, so it's okay. We have to then move it manually in the elevation view. So it's that level that's important. Okay, might have to adjust this. It's your parking components. Right, next to parking components, we have building pads. Okay, now building pad is useful to create a flat land or a flat surface so that your building can lay the foundation actually, or the rough foundation actually. Okay, so if we see over here, we have these outline of the building is there. Okay, and if I look into this topo surface, my land is not straight. It's uneven basically. So what I might have to do is I might have to level the topo surface, and I have to create a building pad so that a foundation can be created or it can be laid basically. Okay, so I'm gonna come and take the building pad tool. So when I do that, it will tell me to draw the outline. Okay, so which I'm gonna come in the site plan actually, and then I can create a building pad for this much uh, building basically. So I can either draw a rectangular shape somewhere like that, or I can exactly draw this figure of this building. Finish mode. So you can see a pad has been created, a land has been created, flat land has been created, and here we go. So that's the flat land, and you can see now it's been raised basically there, because it's this is below your elevation basically there, below my level line basically there. So if you wanted to also make this sunken basically, not raised basically, so you can offset the height. So maybe if I give like a negative 20 1200 mm, okay, or maybe more than that. Okay, so it's gone down, so that's, you can see now this is becomes your cutout. Okay, so where we need to now create the retaining walls around that. Okay, you can take it more deep foundation, 10 meters. So wherever is your building sites, you might have to create your building pads. I can even draw the exact shape of this building. So I can take the pick lines. Define it also, negative 10 meters. There would be going into negative 10 meters. So building pad, and then your foundation can lead over there on that flat ground, and you can have the columns and the beam inserted and your floors to be raised. So that's building pad to create a sketch on the topo surface to have a flat ground if you have an uneven ground surface basically. Next to building pad, we have the next toolbar that is called split surface toolbar. So the split surfaces do is like this entire topo surface is one topo surface. Okay, so I want this is my mountain region. So this top of the mountain region would be like a rocky mount basically, and then the bottom one would be like maybe the grass mountains basically, or maybe the top of these mountains would be having snow, and then the bottom of that would be having like uh, rocks or anything else basically there. But if I select it selects as all as one basically there, so I might have to split up this much top regions of the topo surface into another part basically. So I'll come back to my site plan, and I'll decide that okay, after 250 meters from the level, it would be that have snow mountains basically. So I'm going to take split surface tool, and then I'm going to pick this topo surface, and then I can like roughly draw it at okay this much portion of it like that. Split it off. You can see this sketch line has been created, and I'm going to hit on the finish mode. So now what happens that if I select this, you can see this, it selects separately, not the whole topo surface gets selected. So that selected topo surface, you can select that split topo surface, and we can apply a different material also. Okay, so it's right now says by category. So if I want to apply a different material, I can apply a different material. Surface of like a little bit of sand, and earth in the cut pattern. Appearances, come in appearance library, and in appearance library search for the category of site work. So when you come on site work, you get all the textures of site work like asphalt. You'll get the blue stones. You'll get pebble stones. Okay, you have dirt. You have grass. High quality of grasses, loose gravels, munch black, basically that pebble blocks, sea pebbles, sands. Okay, I have snow a little bit, so we can pick snow. More or less, this looks like white only. By so now let's get snow. Okay, and then if you look into your 3D view, that much region has snowy mountain basically there. We can come into visibility graphics, and we can come in imported category, and we can hide that DWG file. Yeah, nice mountain now, a bit snowy mountain. Okay, can again split that contours basically. So if you come back in mapping inside, again you can use the split element and then you can divide that into some other regions as well. So I can like tell it that okay, this much. Finally, we can have different sand or anything else or watery kind of feel. Different material over here. Beach sand or sand smooth, something like that. Not that great. Beach sand, fine. It's a very huge site actually. That kind of beach area. Okay. Create your own topo surface region split करके give a different material. Then you can again merge that surface also. So if you don't want this as a separate part or this as a separate part, you can merge it. So you can take merge surface tool. So when I take the merge surface tool, I have to pick which surface you need to merge with which. So this surface needs to be merged with this one. So this first and this second. So you can see now that the snow region is being gone basically. If I would have picked the snow one first, I can like merge this to that, and everything would be like snow. Okay, so it's very important that you pick first and then second, whichever it is basically. Okay. Then we have something called as sub-regions basically. Sub-region is used for creating pathways, okay, like roads, or you wanted to create some walkways basically there. Okay, sub-region surface is being utilized to create it. You can even use building parts to create your roads and other basically, or you can create sub-region surface also. Okay, so I'll come back to the site plan. So I'll assume it that there is some kind of a road is like going around this view, or maybe from here there's some like walkway is going, road is going. So I'll take sub-region surface, that I'll draw that line of road basically. Maybe this is the line of road only. Okay, you can even pick the lines. So I'm just assuming it actually. And sure it's a looped object. Then I'm going to hit on the finish mode. Over here, it did not join it. I have to make sure that it joined properly. So we got that sub-region created. Now I can select that sub-region surface and I can apply the material of the asphalt. Asphalt gray, or you can take the asphalt, the high glossed one. Okay, you can take the mesh asphalt or the concrete ones, whichever one you like it. So I use a bit of gray one. That's been applied. Look into your 3D view. You have an asphalt. Okay, so that's the sub-region surface. Okay, and you can see it's like it follows the uneven amount of roads basically there. Okay, so it doesn't goes and creates a cut basically there, but it follows the unevens. These are the basic site component tools that you can use it to create basically. We have something called as property lines. Okay, so if you want to mark your property line, suppose if I come on the plan view, okay, you can see the property line does not get activated when you are in the 3D view. It's only available when you are in the site plan view. And suppose this is my property basically. This is what I've purchased and I'm going to build it basically there. So I can mark my property line over here. So property line, it tells me two options: by entering the distance and the bearing. So if you know the coordinates, you can input the coordinates distance. And if you don't know the coordinates, you can input by sketching the lines basically. So I'm going to take the sketch line and I can create a maybe an offsets of let's say 3 meters. Take it from here. I'm going to just make sure that these lines are then connected. So that's my property mark line. So 3 meters I'm leaving from the directions, from all directions. Click on the finish mode. Right, you can see that's the property mark line. So now if I select the property mark line, it tells me that what's the area of your property. So it comes to around 1256.168 square meters. Okay, it's 1256.168 square meters of area is there. That's my property line basically. You can create as many property lines. So if you have two property lines, maybe this one is also there. So you can create another property line for these as well. So you can again come back to the massing inside, take the property line tool, by sketch. I'm going to sketch it a little bit this time, very randomly. Yeah. Okay. Finish. So that's the another property line, and that's that area of that property line basically. Okay, so the property line has been marked up. So you can indicate or display your Then you're gonna take the other tool, graded region. I'll do that in the next class because that needs something that I need to explain the excavation work. Label contour. So we can take the label contour tool. It's very simple if you just wanted to label your contour elevations in your floor plans. So you can take label contours. So, so in the AutoCAD file, I've already labeled it. That's fine. This is in meter, but the current project that I'm doing is in mm. So I'm going to change the unit to meter maybe, or I can just do one thing. I can hide this imported CAD file. I don't want to see them. And now when I hide the imported CAD file, I don't see that elevating of each of these intermediate lines basically. So I can take the label contour tool and I can like drag it from this particularly point to all the way till here. I will display you your elevation of each lines. Okay, now if you feel that the text is too small, not readable at least, so you can obviously duplicate it and change its text height. Maybe I'm going to take it as a 5 mm. Okay, so we can actually read it. Okay, now if I like zoom out, I'm unable to still read it. So that's because of the scale. So if I increase the scale to 1:500 or maybe 1:200 at least. Okay, now it's quietly readable. So you can see it's like gradually rising 2000, 3000, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10,000 millimeters in height, 12,000, 14,000, and it still keeps on rising it. Still on. It keeps on going and 7,000 from here. Okay, and I want to find out what is from year to year. So you can again take label contour, label it from year to year. So here also it's like gradually rising. Okay, so it comes as the same elevating. So that's label contours. So once you remove your CAD file, you might not be able to see that elevating space. You can even label it into your manual site work जब हमने किया था यहाँ पे. So you can label it from this point to your. Okay. Obviously show you your mark of that line. So this is 1,000. This is also 1,000. This would be at 0. If I select this topo surface, edit surface, and if I select this point, that's 0. So I'm going to put this at, let's say, 6,000. Now you'll be seeing that it's like gradually rising. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Rises a lot gradually. Okay. You can see in your 3D view that it's rising. Okay. So these are your site tools. Okay, only one tool is left off, that is the graded region. This is used when we're going to use the when we excavate and then we fill the land to level it basically. So we use the graded region toolbar. to something that we wanted to level the surface basically. Okay, so I'll go ahead in the next class. Okay, out of graded region toolbar. Okay. Now, if you wanted to do some more site work, there are plugins also available. So there is a plugin called sorry, I forgot about that plugin name. Site work plugin. Okay, for Revit, you can download that also. You can go into the App Store. Search for that plugin. Site work, Revit site work. It's actually not free, it's paid plugin, but if you can purchase, not that expensive also. $17. Revit site designer plugin. That's the plugin that will again enable you to work on the same way only. Only thing is that the toolbar is very much neatly organized. And that makes it good. Okay. So I have the toolbars for creating curves and even sidewalks. Okay, and even for creating other elements basically. So it's almost similar, but as I told you, it's not a free plugin. You might have to pay for that. And most likely I don't think so it is available for 2020 version, because it was last available for 2019 users only. So if you are using 2020 or 21 or 2022, then this plugin is not available for. You might have to um, wait for the updated version to come. So still till now they haven't. I can actually see in the forum that they have last posted in 2019. They haven't posted after 2019, so that means they have discontinued with this plugin. So you have to use this toolbars only to create it. Okay. If I get it, the plugin for this version of Revit, I'll surely post it on your WhatsApp. Okay. Let's move this. Actually, water storage. Scaffolding. Okay, put it somewhere else. Looks basics and nice. So try these toolbars and plugin options, and if you get that plugin, you can download and install and see it. Okay. If I find it, I'll post it on your WhatsApp. Okay. So that's from today's lecture. I'll see you guys on Monday.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Most welcome.
Yes.
Thank you, Isha.